Hi YouTube, how are you doing? I'm doing okay. It's a little cold today. It's raining out and um gee, it just oh, I was looking to see what my temperature was here. It says oh, what the air quality is instead. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure it's not the best air quality. Yeah, whatever is in it, right? I've been listening to a Dr. Robert Moore. He's a instructor at the Carl Jung, or I think they just call it the Young Institute in Chicago. I'm not a big Young fan. I wouldn't consider myself what they call a Union. Um, some of the aspects that come out of the Carl Jung's train of thought were actually more, let me say this the right way, more agenda driven, kind of a, kind of a, oh, I won't say Marxist or communist, but a socialistic view on some things that I don't really agree on. But this Robert Moore is pretty bright. He's not identical to Carl Jung, who had some good ideas as in psychiatry and psychology. But to what I find interesting with Dr. Robert Moore is he's finding, see, because psychiatry and psychology is considered like a pseudoscience. How do you measure another human being's brain, like on what scale? And yeah, there's scales that they measure all this on, but he's got like the four different archetypes of a human being's personality that we all have, those different parts of like our mind and how we operate within that. And then he's going into talking about like what he would call like the magician part of you or the love part of you, or like if you're driven in one area, you might, or like the warrior part, you might be neglecting when you do have to stand up for yourself. Or by no means don't ever be shamed by anybody else's reaction to something that has happened to you personally. They can't speak on that, that type of thing. So that's where I stand with that. It's like, yeah, if I'm going to lose my temper, I feel the need to do that. I will. I'm not going to be shamed into anybody's way that they might say it or might not say it, that type of feeling. I don't care. But then he was also talking about like the different aspects of people doing like meditation and not really giving like pain reverence to, like, even like maybe the smaller energies that give to you, let alone the great big one, which he would call the other, like not paying, I will use the word homage, like to God. um and then he was talking about people um doing black masses and maybe not having respect for um what they're doing. They think, and this I'm gonna supplement some words here, my thoughts. They think they're doing magic, they think they're doing black masses, and really it is a dangerous thing. I'm saying you will never be rewarded for even dabbling in dark magic. um Anytime it's something that you will be taking from yourself. It's never free, never free. So, if you're ever trying to manipulate matter or people or situations in any way, um, you already lost the game because it is, well, there's things set in stone for sure. The way things are absolutely going to be no matter what we do. Like our dying, we're going to die. That is set in stone. As far as I know, I don't know any other way out of here besides that. But yeah, it's interesting to listen. It's been a almost a 7 hour lecture that he was giving through the weekend to other people in the field of psychiatry, therapists, that type of stuff. Most of his audience, when he did this, I don't know when he recorded it. He put it on his YouTube channel 3 weeks ago, and I ran across it. Um, Even 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have listened to him, and I have seen his name around before because usually the minute I hear somebody talking Carl Jung, I'm done at that point. It's kind of like if you're going to quote Sigmund Freud to me, it's like, yeah, okay, bye. See you later. You know, there's some, yeah, they were great minds. Uh, and we can learn from everybody in a manner of speaking, but there's different things that were documented by these people. I mean, all of them had mental illnesses. Every single one of them were drug users. Um, I'm kind of a firm believer that if you're going to be doing a hard drug, you might it might be a mind altering thing, and you might not be the person to be talking about psychology or psychiatry with. And if that in turn also, in addition, you have no faith in a higher being besides yourself, that could really leave you in a really bad teaching aspect for other people, because if all you have to do is rely on who you think you are, what do you really feel about other people? Is this a superior situation, or would you be their equal? Now, there's a lot of people that think, well, some people aren't capable of thinking that deep. Um, I believe that's just not true. I believe that even a tiny baby's capable of thinking just as deep as we can, although they can't articulate that. But those thoughts are in there, you know. It's just how do you bring things out in people if you want to be like a good therapist or a great one, or even within your own family, that type of thing, to learn things. Um, you wouldn't approach it from a godlike standpoint. Most likely, I think the greatest minds on the planet know that they're guided by um, something outside of themselves, something besides themselves, the creator of all. I do believe that the most intelligent people in the world have um, those clues from our Father, the Creator. You know, that's my thought. The best people I've known, the smartest people, the most talented, I just believe that they know that it isn't them, that it is a gift. And I think if they don't know that, they end up paying for it one way or another. You know, just my thought. It's just really weird. Um, there was two memes this morning concerning Alice Cooper, and he was feeding children in Phoenix, Arizona. I saw him at the store one time at a Smitty store in Phoenix. This was back in the 80s, mid 80s, or yeah, mid 80s. Um, but anyway, he had a restaurant and he's feeding hungry little kids out of there. And it might have been his mom in the photo with him. Next thing I know, I see another meme that said he was working at a food bank feeding people, which is baloney because he does have a restaurant, Coopertown, in Phoenix. So anyway, I thought it was, and then it said underneath there, thank God for atheists. Well, if, I don't know, I believe just even looking back at all the respect he always had for his mother, and did you ever listen? I have a copy I sang too. Maybe, well, of course, not as well as he does. And then he put theatrics into the thing. But, but when I was 14, his song "Only Women Bleed" came out. And the depth of that song and some of his other music that people aren't really familiar with leads me to believe that he believes in a higher power than his self. So I don't know how people could just label him as not believing in God. And did you know, for the record, that the Roman, or no, not Romans, the Judaism, people of the Jewish faith used to call Christians atheists? That's the truth. They called Christians atheists and pagans, and which were meant to be like a slander, like a slighting or a belittlement. It wasn't anything good, you know, just for the record. So maybe calling him an atheist isn't probably too bad of a thing. He could be in the Church of Zion, and that would be a lot worse. So you could do worse than actually not knowing for sure if there was a creator. Of course, there is. Or, yeah, people think they made themselves. I don't think he does think that. That he just, like, we just appeared, or, um, whatever. I think ugh, anyway, it's hard to explain the science behind the biology of what actually people are, especially like our skin being the biggest organ on our body. Um, yeah, on our planet. Yeah, we're an organism on the planet. But yeah, not even really understanding how much alien life is on our skin, and what what is the actual biology behind matter biology and the organisms that comprise all that. You know, if people just thought of themselves as millions of bugs stuck together walking around, yeah, I guess I'd wear makeup too if I, but maybe that's why I used to wear it. No, no, I would occasionally put some on, but anyway, yeah, there's a lot of little critters inside and out of us at all times, and what they do to make our biology is really, they should make like a cartoon for kids and say, um, not just the blood cells and the red and white components of them, but the actual structure of that within that, and the biological life forms that do things with them and to us and for us, and different things within all that. It's a trip. So, anyway. So, yeah. Something tells me that we have a better existence to look forward to that does not involve bugs. That's just my thoughts on that. I'm not a real big bug fan, you know. Of course, they're good for birds and different things, but, you know. I did a video. I plastered it all over Facebook when they started farming crickets and mealyworms and different things, and showed people even parasites have their own parasites, which is a trip to think of, but I actually proved it. I read it. I named them. Um, yeah, whatever. A lot of people just don't listen. Yeah, but that's okay. Yeah. Days. Anyway, so if you are interested in any kind of psychology, that lecture from Dr. Robert Moore, a couple times I was going to turn him off. Then I kept listening, and it's like, oh, yeah. Takes a lot for me to listen to another human being, uh, and have them keep my attention with that intelligence. If it wasn't there, I would have turned them off. But there's something more. It is his reverence for God that I know he has. He is a believer in Jesus. I believe there was a Jesus, and I believe Jesus has his little children. I just believe that um, we are to seek the face of God, and he is the go between for some, and I do not believe that everybody has to go through him to get to the Father, because that just is my opinion, not the way it is. At least for me, that's how I feel. But and I didn't always feel like that. I just happen to feel like that now, you know. So, and that has nothing to do with things that went on in my life, wicked, cruel things that could have just made me bitter or God loving or whatever. That'll never happen. So, yeah. Anyway, same creator, different robe. That's my thoughts on that. You know, anyway. But back to the dark energy and all that type of thing. People don't understand. It's not free. You will pay for it any time that if you're praising Satan, not really realizing the initial energy comes from God. Now, if you knew both and you hailed Satan, that might be one thing. That's like saying hi. But if you were to go over the fence and say that that was your God and your creator and all that type of thing, that's when you're going to get devoured because that's the same energy that you should be raising up and praising the good part. That's the necromancy of the whole thing. That's very Christ-like. That's very, say what you will. This is true because it's one and the same, and I'm telling you that that dark inner entity is the unresurrected Christ, you know? And so, what you do to keep that in the grave with your thoughts and that towards His Spirit will be counted against you because you're not realizing that it's one and the same. But you shouldn't be looking with reverence towards that dead state, but the life for that our future holds, you know. So I did want to talk about that today anyway, so with people. I mean, especially people if you're like from the satanic congregation. I mean, um, you do not get more satanic than the people that raised me, and you do not get more ethereal minded, Akashic record minded, or wizard type attitude than how I was raised. And so, what I'm telling you, um, and I've seen it with my own eyes many times over, these practices and rituals and ceremonies towards the dark force are not honored or respected, and you'll pay for it. Always, every single bit of it. So, and that is the Baba chakra eating its own tail, the dragon eating itself. So everybody else can live too. That's the cycle. That's that energy. But God can control that energy. And it really has nothing to do with mankind except for um, the creator force that keeps you alive. But to praise something that has in a fallen state is not paying homage to the creator at all, for your behalf and its behalf. And I say it because it is not in a risen state. And that's where you have to draw the line and distinguish really what are you doing? Is it prayer? Whoa. Or is it a mass? You know, a black mass? Or, you know, what? What are you doing? Because really, magic isn't real. It's all smoke and mirrors and tricks. Absolutely. Yeah, I've had what I consider miracles happen all the time, but it isn't that magical. We're all magic like that. If you want to call calculations, mathematics, and uh, pre planned suppositions, like you can go into something, you can foresee something, but did you manifest it, or were those possibilities of the manifestation in that matter placed there for you with that energy? That's where people get lost and they don't pay the reverence to the energy that is giving them that. And that's where Satan comes in because people really don't know much beyond either like one thing or another. If God hurt their feelings, then they're going to throw God out of the picture and go satanic. if they like Satan can promise you this or that or do this or that for you, it's really not him. It comes from God, and you have to pay for that either way. You either take it for free from the Creator, and then you have to be a humble person, or you will be humbled one way or another with, mm, excuse me, the darkness that you're fooling around with. You know, that's the idolization that's going on, especially in the United States. Pretty crazy. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, not very many people liked my video yesterday about an ancient lullaby, the most famous one made by natives. I should have worded it different. Like my video that uh, said, "Why the hell won't you listen?" got way more views. I guess I have to be crass. Being sweet doesn't cut it, huh? That's okay. You can always hang your baby in a tree like the natives did and then play pinata with it. How's that for dark? You know, I have a dark sense of humor. I find that funny, very funny. I should have hung my children in trees and treated them like a pinata. Maybe they would have liked me more. Sometimes sweet just doesn't cut it, right? So, wow, stuff is like freaking blowing around out there. So, I'm gonna get this uploaded while I can. I don't know what the weather's gonna be like, but it seems to maybe be getting worse out there. I'm not sure. All right, everybody, thank you for joining me. If you're new here, thank you. And for everybody that's been here for a while, I love you all. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day, wherever you're at.